Assalamu alaikum. My name is Vanessa. I'm 23 years old and I'm a Puerto Rican Muslim. I wanted to talk about being a Latina convert, racism, and how that has affected me. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. The majority of our population is African American and Hispanic. So I was lucky enough to grow up in a town where I never felt like a minority. My color never mattered. Everyone was pretty much just like me. I started college in Newark as well, so once again, I didn't feel like a minority. The majority of our students were African American and Hispanic and Asian, so I never really felt like a minority. I didn't feel real racism until I transferred colleges. I went to a college in what is considered a white area, and the majority of our students hailed from some of our wealthier towns in New Jersey. I was the darkest person in most of my classes. I even had someone tell me that they were surprised to see someone of my ethnicity in calculus too, as if somehow my skin color meant that I couldn't be smart. At one part, the sororities were actively recruiting, and there were a few sororities that were all Caucasian. They were stopping by the lunch tables and talking to some of the girls giving out pamphlets. They passed by my tables, and one of the girls tried to hand me a paper, and the other two girls had whispered to her, no, 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 not her. I was sort of taken aback. So I just kept watching them to see just what they were doing. And I saw them pass by a table full of African American women, and they decided not to even stop. They didn't even look at them. And I think that was probably the moment when I realized that I'm considered a person of color. It never dawned on me before that my color had anything to do with me. It was just the way you were born. It never really, since I was never limited by it before, it just felt like a smack in the face. And while all this was happening, I was still Christian. I had not taken my Shahada yet. So now that I'm Muslim, I get stares from all over the place. I go out in my hijab, anything from grocery shopping to just going to the mall, and just people just stare at me. They give you the side eye. I'm in the bathroom washing my hands, and they're just, some it's just really ignorance. I just wish I could actively just tell people, like, we're just like you. We go to the mall. I go to GameStop. I buy my nephew video games. I go to Old Navy. I like their tunics. So it's just that, I don't know, I guess just some of the ignorance. Sometimes I never noticed it before. I guess I was blind to it. But now people actively stare at me because of the hijab. So now it's just, I'm starting to feel it a little more. I went to a lounge type of place for dinner with some friends for a birthday. As I walked to the bathroom, this girl gave me the side eye. And then she, tapped her friend and she was like, I didn't know they were allowed to go out. And I'm just like, yes, I am allowed to go out. I don't know, sometimes it does bother me. I'm a very straightforward person. So if you have something to say it to my face, and I will gladly explain it to you. So people, I guess as a Muslim woman, they're afraid to talk to me. So I guess that's why they don't really go up to you. It's a little frustrating. In the Muslim community as well, I have felt some racism, but not much. I've been told that I cannot be a real Muslim because I'm Hispanic, or that since I wasn't born Muslim, I can't be as pious as the others. In the area that I grew up in, there's a lot of teen pregnancy, and unfortunately, the majority of that are Hispanics. I went to a high school where we graduated 120, and I think out of 120, I graduated high school about, what, 6 years ago? Out of the 120, there's probably like 20 of us that don't have kids. And there was some girls that were graduated pregnant or already had kids and were pregnant again while graduating. So, that type of, stereotype is very rampant where I live. I've had people in the masjid ask me, if I have kids out of wedlock or if I ever haven't had an abortion before. So that does bother me. It does. Because, I'm glad that you're asking me in a sense, but at the same time, it's like, okay, thanks. Because I'm Hispanic, that's all I do. I do get frustrated, and I have met some difficulties with these things. Sometimes I have a hard time dealing with it. But the Muslims that I have met my age have been so welcoming and so sweet. I have felt such a welcome from organizations such as Sister's Voice. I have always received great advice and great feedback from its members. I even had a survey on their Facebook page asking how many people will eat Hispanic halal food if given the opportunity. I've been dying to open a restaurant, hopefully, inshallah, in the future. And, even for silly things like that, they've been great. I don't speak Arabic. I'm learning, inshallah. And I even get Arabic advice from them. So, sometimes it's hard, but you do find some really great people who can really help you. I've met a few people through the local masjid, and some people even through my job, that they come in with a hijab, and I'll talk to them and stuff, and we ended up being really good friends. So, some of the racism and stuff, it sort of annoys me, probably most, because I don't really sit home and cry about it. I just get really annoyed, and I wish that everyone weren't so ignorant, and instead of making assumptions about me, ask me. But that's okay, because I felt like these experiences have helped mold me. They've helped me be more patient, and also helped me get out there and really talk about Islam, and talking about being a Latina convert. And hopefully it'll help break up some of those stereotypes. It's been difficult at times, but in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, undoubtedly, along with hardship, there is ease. That's from Surah Inshira, Ayah 6, which is my favorite surah. Because I just feel like when you're frustrated and you're going through a hard time, that's the surah that always helps me. So, inshallah, this helped a bit. If you have any questions or comments, I'll leave my email address at the end of the video. Feel free to contact me. Okay, Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Kareem.